Hello again. Today I want to address probably the biggest question on everyone's mind with relation to the housing market right now. Are we in a bubble? Welcome to the Real Estate Market Update for June 2021. I'm Erik Braceland with Braceland Homes here in sunny San Diego, California, where we guarantee the sale and/or purchase of your home. In the unlikely event we can't sell it, we'll just buy your home ourselves. Please consider subscribing to our channel if you like this video, so you can be notified of future content as I produce it. Again, a lot of folks wondering about a housing bubble, so we're going to explore that together today. We'll start off with this very interesting quote. When you have a void of information, emotion tends to drive decision making. We could spend a lot of time analyzing this, but I would offer that in the market right now, we're seeing people that maybe are misinformed, maybe don't have a handle on what's going on, and they're making decisions emotionally, or they're thinking things are going to happen based on their emotions. And one of those questions is, are we in a housing bubble right now? And I want to address that question. I want to start with really the validation of that question. What we know is home prices have increased this year, and they're increasing rather quickly. And the rate by which they're increasing each month is going up. This is a slide showing year over year price appreciation and how that is accelerating. We start off the year with year over year in January and February at 10% appreciation. If you remember back to last year, we saw 10% appreciation and a lot of appreciation on real estate. And each month it just kept on piling on top of each other. So it's a valid question as people see this appreciation. And the question they have is, how much is too much? Is it 20%, 25% appreciation in the market? And oh, by the way, when we ask, are we in a housing bubble? What we really want to know is my home going to lose value? Who wants to buy a home today and then tomorrow it's worth less, or next year it's worth less than what you bought it for? Let's address this. So I'm going to start off here with some graphics and slides you've probably seen before if you have been following these videos. These have been updated with the most recent numbers, and it's going to give you a way to better visualize the housing market. First, let's talk about this. When it comes to the housing bubble, the first thing we want to start to look at is what loans are being offered to people? Are risky loans still in the market like they were back during the housing crash? Here's a quote from Dr. Frank Nothaft. He says, "There are market differences in today's run-up in prices compared to 2005, which was fueled by a bubble of risky loans and lenient underwriting. Today, loans with higher risk features are absent and mortgage underwriting is prudent." If you were active in around the market in 2008, you may remember all the loan products that were in the market that aren't there today. But you may have heard that those products are coming back. Here's a great visual showing the reality of the market. The Fed just came out with these numbers. This shows mortgage loan originations with a credit score below 620, comparing 2006 to last year. Back in 2006, 376 billion in new loans were originated in this country with a credit score of only 620. Last year, it was just $74 billion. So what we know today is that those that are buying homes are qualified and have better credit. Very, very different from what we saw back in the housing crisis, but we'll continue on. Coming out of Harvard's most recent State of the Nation housing report, they say this: "These outsized increases have raised concerns that a home price bubble is emerging." However, conditions today are quite different than in the early 2000s, particularly in terms of credit availability. The current climb in prices instead reflect strong demand amid tight supplies, helped a little bit by record low interest rates. So the average 30-year fixed loan right now sits at 2.8%. We know last year rates hit a new low 16 times. 16 times. Amazing. And folks are saying, you know what? That makes sense. As these home prices grow, they're being fueled by this lack of supply and, oh, by the way, great interest rates. Now let's take a look at credit availability and look at the Mortgage Banker Association's Mortgage Credit Availability Index. The way you read the index is the higher the number, the easier it is to get a loan. And how do things look now as compared to when we were back in the housing crisis? We're nowhere near where we were in this country relative to credit availability. Even in the last year, certain loan products have left the market and credit has tightened with regard to mortgage credit. So what we can say confidently is back in the housing crisis, demand was inflated, where today demand is real. People are buying homes that they can afford, and they're actually qualifying for those homes. So we don't see a situation where a bubble is fueled by this inflated demand, by people that can't afford homes, or by people that are saying, hey, I make this amount of money and I'm going to go out and buy a home. So that's one area we can confidently say things are dramatically different. Quick pause in the action here so I can ask you to please hit the like button if you're enjoying this content. You don't really have to hit it. Just clicking the icon will get the job done. But if you're a smasher, go ahead and smash that thing. Hit it, click it, smash it, smush it. makes no never mind to me. But I do spend hours researching and producing this content for you, so I'd love to know if you actually like it. All right, back to it. Let's talk about mortgage debt and affordability. Big topics. A while back, I talked about cash out refinance and how mortgage payments are growing in this country. What I want to take you to is the Fed's report on the household debt service ratio for mortgages as a percentage of disposable personal income. Now, disposable personal income is the money you have left over after you've paid your taxes. That's your money. And what you can see in this graphic is that during the height of the housing crisis, the mortgage or household debt service ratio is 7.21%. Where we stand today is just under 3.5%. So we're in an even better position than if we went all the way back to the 80s. You can see that visually right here. Do we have a problem with people being over leveraged or taking a ton of debt like we did back in the housing crisis? No. We're in a very different situation. So it starts to beg the question, and you might be asking yourself, what's happening with affordability? People are out buying. Prices are going up. We know what's happening with loans, but I'm concerned that homes aren't affordable, and how's that going to play out? Mark Fleming from First American says this. He says, looking back at the bubble years, house prices exceeded house buying power in 2006 nationally. But today, house buying power is nearly twice as high as the median sale price nationally. Many find it hard to believe, but housing is actually undervalued in most markets, and the gap between house buying power and sale prices indicates there's room for further house price growth in the months to come. I always bring this up when speaking about housing affordability. There's two topics that are talked about. One is affordable housing, which typically refers to homes on the lower end of the market. Housing affordability, on the other hand, refers to what the dollar will buy. We're talking about housing affordability here. And there's no doubt we need more homes in the lower end of the markets across the country. But when we start to look at affordability, we want to look at the Housing Affordability Index again. And the question that comes out is, are homes as affordable today? Well, the question you always want to ask is as compared to when, right? So we look at the Housing Affordability Index. We know that homes over the last couple of years were more affordable than they are today. But if we look back just 3 years ago, homes are actually more affordable today. Homes are also currently more affordable than during the 18 years preceding the housing crisis. Something to keep in mind there. But the truth with affordability right now is affordability continues to decrease in this country. You can see that in this graphic here from the National Association of Realtors, starting in January to where we are through May. And the moral of the story right now is affordability will become more of a challenge before it gets better. It's based on three components: home prices, interest rates, and wages. What are forecasters saying right now? Interest rates are going to go up, and house prices are going to go up. That will eat into affordability across the country, but something that we want to stay on top of relative to this housing bubble question. So are we in a housing bubble? Absolutely not. There it is, the short answer you've been looking for. It's simply a house supply and demand issue. The imbalance of supply and demand we've talked about extensively. And Sam Cater from Freddie Mac really sums it up here. He says, the main driver of the housing shortfall has been the long-term decline in the construction of single-family homes. That is the truest statement of why we're in the situation we're in right now. We're seeing rapid price acceleration and many going, gosh, this feels unstable. This feels like last time during the housing crash. And this graphic right here is probably the best graphic to communicate where we're at. It shows single-family housing construction levels going all the way back to the 70s. And you can see for the past 13 years, we have been below the 50-year average represented by that horizontal dotted line. There were literally more homes built in the country back in the 70s and 80s than there have been in the last 10 years. And that's causing the issues that we have. Then the pandemic comes along. Home becomes so much more important to people. Interest rates drop and everybody wants to buy. That's the reality of where we've been. We literally don't have enough homes to keep up with population growth across the country. It's fueled this current spike in prices. So as we start to look forward to that, to the rest of the year, we're going to bring you what those forecasts are. Forecasters are saying, hey, as interest rates rise, as prices rise, that should start to slow the rate of appreciation as we go forward. If you'll allow me to digress for just a moment, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of future updates and other related content. Let me know if you're enjoying these insights and hit that like button. Any questions on this? Just enter them into the comments section right down there below the viewing window. All right, let's get back to our update. So where is the market at right now? We're seeing a lot of news articles. The housing boom is officially over. Housing sales dropped to a new low. Home sales drop in June as prices continue to rise. Pending home sales drop. A lot of information in the market speculating about seeing a turn in the market. And over the last couple of months, we've discussed being on the front end of a return in real estate. So now I want to give you a little perspective on that and take a look at just exactly what's happening. We'll also review the second quarter relative to home buyers. Let's go to NAR's buyer traffic report in April of 2021. You see this right here in the upper left quadrant. The majority of the country, very strong buyer traffic. That's the dark blue color. So strong buyer traffic is the dark blue color. As we go into May, you see a little bit more of the lighter blue in the map. If we go on to June, lower right quadrant, you see a lot more lighter blue and a little less buyer traffic. So strong traffic still across the country, but not, as you know, not this urgency in the market that we saw during the first half of the year. But people still out there looking. And I'm not saying we're here in a situation where we're going to see less multiple offers, but maybe not as many people competing for a home as more inventory comes back into the market. You can just see the contrast right across these 3 months. Where we come from April, May, and into June, we can definitely say there's less buyer traffic. And the question that always comes up is this a seasonal thing? If we look here at showing time, which is just an application many agents use to schedule showings, we are tapering off a little earlier than last year. But if you look at where we are right now, there's still more buyers out looking right now than at any time last year. So before we say, gosh, the bottom is falling out and buyers have left, let's just remember that we're still ahead of where we were this time last year. But no doubt we're seeing less buyer demand. So two things there. One, is the seasonal? I think there is probably some seasonality to it, but there's also another contributing factor at play, and that's rising home prices. You see here, as of May, the year-over-year house price appreciation. The Federal Housing Finance Agency says homes have appreciated 18% over the same time last year. CoreLogic says 15.4%. Case-Shiller, 16.6%. So the consensus is that there are over 15% appreciation on homes across the country. A lot of buyers right now saying, gosh, prices are going up too quickly. I'm not sure I want to continue on with this. We talked about buyer fatigue. We talked about all the things that are out there. My message to buyers right now is, if you're a serious buyer, now is the time. It doesn't mean that there's all of a sudden all this new opportunity you're going to walk into and we're in a buyer's market. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that as we have gone through the summer, traffic and competition has started to slow, and buyers have started to say, you know what, I'm not sure I want to do this. So if you want to make a move, take advantage of this recent market shift. I want to go to a quote from the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors. He says, given that the sales activities are coming down, we may be sensing some turn in the market. We are seeing less prevalence of multiple offers, although it is still a seller's market, no doubt. He goes on to say, still a seller's market, but people need to be very cautious how they price their homes to attract buyers, knowing that these sales activities are declining somewhat. So a little note to sellers there. As buyers start to dwindle and more sellers say, we can sell our home for this amount, you need to be careful. This is a time when a lot of sellers try to catch the market, and that's a dangerous and undesirable place to be. So I always counsel sellers to stay ahead of the market so we're not chasing it. What we believe we can get for a home is not always where we want to list that home on the market. This graphic shows the market that we're in, which is clearly a seller's market. But if you look carefully, you'll see we're rebounding off the bottom of an extreme seller's market and headed in a direction that's possibly more buyer friendly. Something important to pay attention to. We're on the front end of the shift in real estate coming out of last year. I'll end with another quote from Lawrence Yun. He said, at a broad level, Speaking back to where we started today, home prices are in no danger of decline due to tight inventory conditions, but I do expect prices to appreciate at a slower pace by the end of the year. Ideally, the costs for a home would rise roughly in line with income growth, which is likely to happen in 2022 as more listings and new construction become available. It's a great summation of the market. There's no bubble, there's no forecast right now for price decline, but for appreciation to slow as we go into the second half of the year. I think those are important takeaways. We're in August right now, and here's the analogy I would give you. Where we're at in the real estate market is like flying down the freeway. We're doing 95 miles per hour because I like to go fast. And we see an officer up on the hill ahead and we start to slow down. Maybe we slow down to 70, 65 miles an hour and it feels like we're crawling, but we're actually doing the speed limit, which is still pretty quick. We're coming back into a little bit more of a normal market, seeing some normal appreciation forecasts. So expect to see that and don't be alarmed. Everything is going to be all right. So for this real estate market update for August and from everyone here at Braceland Homes, thank you for the time you invested in watching this, and thank you for the time that you spend to be aware of what's happening in this market. If you've enjoyed this content or found it helpful, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing to our channel and share this content with someone you like. If you didn't like this video, share it anyway. Perhaps someone else you know will find it interesting. I do appreciate your comments, questions, and feedback, so please enter those below so I can address them and so other viewers can benefit from your input. Take care.